I want to tell you about my shocking results with the JumboMax UltraLite grip. What's happening, Panda Nation? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, I bought this JumboMax UltraLite grip, and I bought it for a few reasons. I kind of bought into some hype. First of all, I've been trying the single plane swing, and I've been having some mixed results with it, but I'm kind of committed to it because I think that there are some great advantages. Now, Bryson DeChambeau is the one who has breathed new life into the single plane swing, and because I've been following him, I've also noticed that he has been using this grip here. It's called the JumboMax UltraLite, and it is an oversized grip. Now, JumboMax, like the name might suggest, only makes grips that are pretty big. And so I picked one up thinking, well, I understand that there are some concerns with not having the right grip size, and this is probably going to be inappropriate, and the results are going to be reflective of that. It's just going to be really, really bad. It's so bad, in fact, what I actually did is I actually bought a second shaft for my driver here and put this grip on there because I was pretty convinced that I was going to just put back my normal grip. And so instead of just re-gripping it, I just bought a shaft so that I could swap them out, because in fact, if I took this out to the golf course, I figured it might be so bad by the second or third hole that I'm just going to go ahead and do a hot swap of the shaft so that I can just play a regular round of golf. So I will tell you that I have been sold on the idea that grip size is very important. And for a lot of people, what they will tell you is that you are going to pick a grip that is appropriate for your hand size. Now, I have small to medium hands. I wear a medium glove in most cases, but I can wear a small glove, but they are just a little bit tight. But I can go between either one of those. Now, when I have been using the sizing guides in the past, what I have done here is I have actually gone to this grip here. It's a very nice grip. It's a Golf Pride MCC multi-compound, and it's a +4, which means that it doesn't taper as much here. The bottom here is like the equivalent of 4 extra wraps of tape, and so it's kind of more uniform throughout. Not totally uniform, it does have a taper on it, but I really like it. They're super, super popular. Now, the way you are supposed to size your grip is you're just supposed to grab it like you normally would, you know, your golf grip on there, and if your hands are just barely touching together here, so your fingers are maybe just barely touching your palm, that means that you actually have the right grip. And I can tell you right now that this is an undersized grip, because a standard grip, which I have one here, has been good for me for a long, long time. But what ends up happening, and this one is not on a club, so understand that it kind of blows out just a little bit. But if I do this with a standard grip, I have just a little bit of space in there. Why that's important to get this apparently perfect, that your fingers touch your palm right there, or at least get pretty close to it, kind of like on the standard grip. Either one of those is supposed to be fine, and that allows you to be able to twist correctly. Now, the exercise and the example I've seen is if you have something large and you're trying to twist it, you just don't have big range of motion. But if I grip something very small, I can twist it a lot. Now, the problem of having something undersized, like a pencil or something like that, is you don't have enough control over it. Having something too large, you can't get your hands turned. So, what they say is that the right grip means that you will kind of have the best potential for hitting it straight. An undersized grip, you'll start to draw it, and an oversized grip, too large, you're going to fade them, or you're going to slice them. And so I thought, all right, if I go up from my undersized grip to like a mid-size or an oversized grip, it's going to really exacerbate that problem. But because I have something of a behavioral disorder, I thought I would just try it for myself. So I ordered this. This is the JumboMax UltraLite, and when I first got it, I was impressed with how light it was. So I want to show you here that it's kind of reminiscent to me of an oversized putter grip. So if you have ordered those here in the past, they almost feel like a foam. They are just crazy, crazy light. In fact, this grip is under 40 grams, which is just mind-blowing to me. It just feels like air, especially because of how big it is. It just feels like absolutely nothing. Now, if I grab my MCC Plus in the undersize and grab this, it actually feels much heavier. In fact, it is. It's rubber, and this undersized grip is 48 grams. Now, this JumboMax UltraLite, which is actually not the X small, it's the small, which means it's an 1/8 of an inch larger, so it's basically the equivalent of an oversized grip, is actually lighter than the Golf Pride here by a whopping 8 grams. So The smallest grip I can buy from Golf Pride is 8 grams heavier than this very large grip, and this isn't actually even the smallest one that they make. Now, I will say Golf Pride does make a light grip, and I think it's 25 grams. I'm going to talk about that in a different video because that kind of interested me too. But smaller and heavier, bigger and lighter, which is kind of amazing. So I go ahead and I put this grip on, and the thing I can tell you right off the bat is that it doesn't fit my hand. And so this starts worrying me right off the bat. So if I just grab it here, and I just want to show you, I'm kind of gripping it as best I can, and I actually have almost a finger of space between my fingers and my palm here. Now, in fact, the thing I realized is, one, I don't really feel like I have a great grip on it because I don't have my hands all the way around the grip itself. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing that I notice when I have my naked skin against this is that it feels slicker. It doesn't have quite that grippy texture of the rubber, and here is just a no-name brand, a Karma generic grip, and this actually feels a lot tackier. I mean, it feels a lot grippier, and so one, it felt slick. Two, I didn't feel like I had as good of a grasp on it, and I thought, man, this is going to be all over the place. So I went to the driving range, and then I played a couple rounds of golf with this thing, and the results really, really surprised me. Some things happened that didn't really surprise me that much. So one, I don't think I can turn my hands over quite as quickly with the bigger grip. So I was seeing a slice. Now, what's funny is it wasn't nearly as bad as some of the slices I was doing with my standard grip, but I was kind of consistently pushing it to the right. And then I was putting shots pretty much straight. I wasn't putting a draw on them, but I was keeping them in the fairway. So that was kind of interesting to me. The other thing that was really interesting to me is because I think your hand has more purchase area, and both of my hands now are in a little bit more relaxed position, as opposed to using this tinier grip, I didn't feel like I had to grip it as much. So my arms weren't as tense because I'm trying to make sure that I have a decent grip on it. I'm over exaggerating how much of a death grip you put on these grips. But on here, because it's kind of like my putters, I have more real estate to work with. I can put less pressure on it, and I don't feel like the club is moving around. Now, my arms are kind of tense here because of how I'm holding it, but I have very little pressure on this grip, and I don't think it's twisting or moving around on it. So what I realized here is I had a little more confidence, a little bit more comfortable hand position, to be honest, and I think that was moving my club head speed up. Now, the reason I say that is because I was using the Tag Heuer Golf app and marking where my drives were landing, and what I realized, surprisingly, is that my drives using this JumboMax driver, which were kind of drifting right a little bit, were also going much further. Now, when I say much further, it's much further for me, and especially when you don't hit really long shots. Basically, everything else being the same exact shaft, and the undersized grip here, I was hitting it 7 yards further on average with this JumboMax grip than I was with this undersized grip. Now, a couple things I think are happening here. One, because I actually have less weight than the rubber grip here, I'm getting more perceived weight down here on the head, and that's allowing me to kind of have a little bit more confidence in the head controlling the shot and picking up my speed a little bit. So if you switch the grip out, just because this is lighter, you're kind of going, I feel like, from a D4 to a D5. Now, some people might not like that, but then it allows you, I think, to remove some weight from the head here if you want to, and actually kind of get more club head speed like that. So what's really interesting is if you are trying to figure out the weight on the head without adding weight there, you can just remove weight from the grip up here. All right, now that being said, I did still feel a little bit like the grip was maybe just a smidge too large. Now, I showed you this other JumboMax grip here because this is interesting. This is the X small. So this is the small. I think it's 1/8 inch larger, an oversized grip. And this one is called their X small, and I think it's 1/16 of an inch larger. Now, I will say that compared to the grips that I had around, I actually think this is more like an oversized, and this is more like an oversized plus. You know, the JumboMax just seems like that. So this one is just supposed to be a little bit smaller, and when I put it in my hand, I feel like I get a little bit better grip. I have a little less space in there when I grip it. It's also a little bit lighter. This is another 2 grams lighter than this grip. So again, it's going to give me more perceived weight at the club head. It's going to be a little bit closer to my ideal grip size, I think. So I won't be surprised if I'm actually able to hit it better with this one, the X small, than I was with this one, which is the small. Now, I will say my grip journey has not stopped here. In fact, I found out that Win also makes a light grip themselves. They call it the dry tack light, and those grips are even lighter. And so I'm actually going to try those on my irons because I'm going to make some modifications that I think are going to help me with my iron shots. And one of the issues that I've had with that is anytime you're making modifications to your irons, it's not as easy to adjust the weight on irons like it is on woods when you have removable weights. And so the grip weight is the way I can make those adjustments and keep my perceived swing weight the same on the irons. So I'm really excited about that. So I will say, after using the JumboMax here, which I thought was a novelty and got me to buy another shaft so that I could keep my original grip on here because I was almost confident I was going to go back to it, has now really converted me. In fact, that's why I picked up this one, because going larger to me was a marked improvement, one that really surprised me. So if you want to pick up these JumboMax UltraLite grips, I think they are worth experimenting with. Now I will say the JumboMax makes some grips that are heavier grips, up to 100 grams in fact, so if you need grip weight you can do some of that too. But these ultralight grips are super light, and they definitely work. So I think they are worth a shot. Hey, if you want to pick them up, I'll put a link to them in the description below. Peter von Panda, out.